that scripture, I'll show you how the enemy really worked it out. And I'll show you what God did. God is such a doer. See, if you don't know what Adam lost, you don't know what Jesus restored. You can't brag that you are aware of the benefits of salvation if you never had an idea what was actually lost. And that's why I'm talking to you like this. The first problem with that garden scenario was the fact that neither Adam nor Eve ever had youthfulness. The Bible declares that God formed the man. He didn't form a boy that grew into a man. No. What did God form? A man. Out of where? The dust of the earth. He breathed into his nostrils and he became a living soul. So from the day he was created, he was a man. Somebody say a man. That man was a living soul. When God was discontent, God went into his rib and took a bone. And with it, he put the man to sleep. And then he formed the woman. Please give me your attention. Give me your attention. Stay with me. Are you still here?
Yes.
Are you still here?
Yes.
And then he made, not a girl, what did he make?
A woman.
A woman. And he brought the woman to the man. So the devil already knew that these two people don't have youthful experience. They didn't grow up. They didn't grow up. That's why when Jesus came on the scene, the Bible declares that Jesus learned obedience by the things he suffered. He was God all by himself. But there are certain things you cannot learn if you didn't grow. That was the advantage the serpent had on them. They were matured enough to receive an instruction from God. But they didn't have enough process of growth to be able to interpret it correctly and hold it firm. So it was one thing that God told them, not to eat of this tree and then to stay with this tree. It's another thing. And see, that capacity is the exclusive reserve of young people. That's the point. So when the whole garden scene was over, do your best to give me your attention. See, I'm working very hard to be as fast as I can so we can do the remaining ceremony and then I can be out of your face. So please just give me your attention. When the whole garden scenario was over, everybody left there thinking about what next. For Adam and Eve, they went to have children. So since they knew they were going to die, they thought, we got to have children because according to prophecy, we're about to die. Are you guys still here? Yeah. So so that there's at least something in the earth before we go. That was all they thought about. That was how much the fallen state will let them reason. For the serpent, he left the garden thinking about what the seed of the woman is. Because the prophecy has it that it is that seed that will bruise his head. So he left the garden in fear of a seed, not of the woman, but in fear of her seed. So when she had two children, the serpent or the enemy thought that those two kids or one of those kids was the seed of the woman. So he put enmity between two of them and made one kill the other. He made the bad one kill the good one because according to prophecy, it is the seed of that woman that will bruise his head. So Abel was the devil's biggest threat. So he orchestrated his death because he looked like the seed of the woman. And that sin was over and the devil felt relieved. And then we go on and you see how iniquity multiplied in the earth. You see what caused the flood. This was the same thing that engineered all of that. You look at Abraham, you look at Isaac, you look at Jacob, you look at his sons, you look at Joseph. Joseph looked like the seed of the woman again. He was such a goodly child. As soon as the devil identified him, he turned all his brothers against him. Because the prophecy, the ancient prophecy, is that the seed of the woman. So he kept trailing her seed throughout time, looking for what seed will bruise his head. And he wanted to bruise it before it bruises him. You were born into warfare. That's what I'm trying to tell you. And he saw Joseph and sent him to slavery and tried to kill him. And it was from prison to, things kept going worse. And God said, you can't touch this one. And God covered him. You remember the story of Moses? The moment he was born, the devil himself entered the king of the land and said, kill all children below 2. What inspired that decision? The seed of the woman. And Moses looked like a deliverer with whom God will execute judgment against the enemy. So he said, kill it. And, warfare went out. But again, God stood up. Look at your God. Look at your God. And God stopped it. This is the old covenant. God stopped it. Throughout scripture, God will raise prophets. The devil organized for them to be beheaded. He will raise judges. Look at where Samson fell. Look at it just went on throughout the Old Testament. That's why when Jesus came, he didn't land on the scene a full-grown man. He decided to be born. That decision was inspired by the slack in the garden. Are you guys with me? And he grew until he was a youth, finished his work as a youth and left the planet Earth. Because the biggest warfare is against you. Look at where he was born. What happened? That same thing that happened in Moses' time, the same fear the devil had, the same way played out. And it was like, kill everything on that too. You see, the devil doesn't know everything. He wasn't even specific. He didn't know that this child was born a few weeks ago. He had them to kill everything on that too. Which means he was scared that maybe it happened last year and he didn't notice. Or maybe a year and a half ago. So let's be smart. Let's kill everything. We're giving too much power to the devil. We think he knows much more than he actually does. When Jesus lay on the cross and Jesus died, what was the biggest regret of the devil? He said, if the prince of this world would have known, he would not have crucified the King of Glory. And you ask yourself, what was the problem? This is a 6,000-year-old cherub. This is a 6,000-year-old prophecy. This, you see, the devil, the serpent, was a cherub in the presence of the Lord. So he lost his job due to pride and fear. So he is the unemployed cherub, the ex-worship leader of heaven. This unemployed cherub must have been dumb, because every prophet who came into the earth prophesied this child and prophesied the way he would be born. A child with that exact description came on the scene, and the devil was stupid enough to think that it is in killing him, whereas the mystery of your salvation is that he died. Yeah. So in the God of this world, if he had known, oh my God, if he had listened close enough to the prophecy, he would have known that the only way seeds live is to make them die. The prophecy was, it is a seed that will bruise your head. What do you do when you want a seed to germinate? The Bible says, except a corn of wheat fall into the ground and die. If he had that insight, he will know that it is not in killing it that it is stopped, because it is not a fruit, it's a seed. Seeds require death to multiply. So if the God of this world had known, if he had known. So you know what the devil was looking for? Please help me project First Peter chapter 2. His church folks will get me angry with me right now. He's been preaching, he hasn't read the Bible. Okay. I'm trying to hurry up, but just help me project it in my image. Thank you. Just help me project. Verse 9. The scripture for this conference. If the God, I wish I could preach this thing like I feel it. If the God of this world had known, if he had known, the devil wept over an issue of knowledge. He wept over his ignorance. If he had known, he would not have crucified the King of Glory. So So what was the devil looking for from the garden up till now? He was looking for the generation that will fulfill that prophecy. So 1 Peter 2:9 says, ye are the chosen generation. You don't get it yet. You don't get it. There is a generation chosen to fulfill that ancient prophecy. 1 Peter 2:9 says, it is not Jesus that is the chosen generation. You are. Because he did what he did so that you can come alive and reply the enemy at the gates. He thought it is in killing the seed. He didn't know that when you kill the seed, what you have done is you have scheduled a forest. Because within the powers, yes, within the powers of a seed is the potential of a forest. So God wired that seed, and we're talking about generation, the generation. From two Latin words, the generation. There is a chosen generation. There is, my God, there is a genetic sequence. There's a code. There's something God wired into you when you were born again that makes it impossible for the enemy to have the advantage. And that's why parents here must get intentional about their kids. Because the devil don't care about you anymore. You made some money, you've been to school, you've traveled the world. Now you have young people that look like the seed of the woman. So when you think about some of the challenges you're having with your kids, it's not time to throw in the towel. Because you are in the middle of warfare. And you must contend for the seed of the woman. Because it is the seed of the woman. I prophesy over every young person under the sound of my voice. From the heavenly perspective, in the name of the Son of the living God, you will fulfill your destiny. Amen. In your lifetime, you will bruise the head of yourself. In the name of Jesus. Amen. Please be seated. We're just talking. We don't have all the time to deal with this. But we see that progression in Scripture. It's there. And he says, you are that generation that was chosen. You can't be chosen if there is no task or responsibility. You must be chosen because there is something to be done. And that thing is that oldest prophecy that the devil has been fighting from the garden. You are a royal priesthood. We were talking today about alcoholism and that little debate here already preached my sermon. Because, you see, in the Old Testament, the only group of people not permitted to take wine were the Levites.